back, humor consumers, to the Life Happens, Laugh Anyway podcast. I'm comedian Tracy DeGraaf.
And I'm co-host Cathrine.
Woohoo! Yay, Cathrine.
I know.
You sound so pro.
Oh, well, so do you.
Oh, thank you. It's the Mutual Admiration Society Club right here.
Yeah.
We're excited, friends. Thanks for tuning in to our podcast.
Yeah.
Yeah, we're excited because there's a lot going on. We've got some new goals and some new, some adventure coming up.
Why don't you tell them what it is?
Well, we're getting ready to film my comedy special.
Scary
Dun,
stuff.
dun, dun.
Exciting stuff.
Yeah, yes.
Lights, camera, action.
Oops. Yeah, it is exciting.
Yeah.
Yeah, so it's planned for, we're going to record it on December 4th. It's a Saturday right here in Peatone, Illinois, where I live.
Yeah.
And it's going to be at our church, at Christ Community Church in Peatone.
And possibly another night. I have a feeling it's going to be 2 nights. So would that be? I do.
Well, we'll see what happens. We just put the tickets on sale, and I don't know when does this particular recording drop on our schedule.
This one drops on the 24th of November.
Okay, so if you are listening to this on the 24th of November, 2021, you may still have time to get tickets for the event. We set it up so that we have one taping. We need to fill that one first, obviously. And then if we do have interest for a second taping, we'll do a second one. And I don't know if we would do it on 2 different days or if we're going to do it like a matinee and an evening show. I'm not sure. But for right now, we've sold like 8% of the tickets just in a couple days.
Yeah, that's really good.
So that's good.
Yeah.
If we can keep that up, we'll get them all sold in like 10 days.
Because it takes time for people to gather their peeps.
Yeah.
And say, who's going? Who's coming with me? So that takes, it's going to sell out.
Our friend Vicky bought 5 tickets off the bat.
5?
Yeah, she was the first sale.
Oh, I didn't know she bought 5. I knew she was the first sale.
Yeah, she bought 5 and she bought 1 for herself and 4 for 4 other people, but she doesn't know who it is. So I'm like,
awesome.
Go Vicky.
Yeah.
Why didn't everybody do that? Where's your tickets, Kat?
They're coming.
Okay, just saying. So it's a big step in the comedy career, in the comedy progression of, doing the thing. This is a slow-moving career. It takes a long time to develop. Dun, dun, dun. It just takes a long time.
Yeah, well, we got to get more comedy muscle.
Yeah, true. So it's going to be exciting. And once we have the film done and recorded and edited, then we will be putting out clips on YouTube and sending them to bookers and, thus and so.
Yes.
Yeah. So
awesome. So
very exciting. So I have to lose 10 pounds before December 4th.
Well, you're on the right track.
Okay, you and I just got back reset because of the pandemic. We took that road, the road of comfort food and sitting on the couch and
stretchy pants.
That was like the kiss of death.
Did you notice I wore jeans today?
Oh,
so normally when we record, I wear like my lounge pants.
Oh, yeah.
I'm no more.
You're done.
I'm done because I'm so comfortable in them.
Yeah. That you can just keep shoving it in.
Well, I think it's also a mindset. Like, I'm just comfortable. And
do you know what?
I'm going to stay uncomfortable all day.
Do you know what pants I have on? These are the ones that have the tag that says toothpick skinny. Do they? Yeah.
Good. So it's a mental thing?
It only means the ankle is
nope. No. You just absorb toothpick skinny.
Yeah, I've never.
Although that's not healthy either.
No, nobody's ever referred to me as a toothpick ever in my whole life, even when I was born.
Well,
anyway,
you can refer to that now.
All right. So we're on a journey of losing 10 pounds before the taping, and we have 6 weeks, so that's 1.5 pounds a week, so that's healthy. And then doing the taping and making it as successful as possible. So if you are listening and you are in the area, in the Peatone area, the Chicago area, or anywhere, quite frankly, it is worth the trip. Come on in, be a part of it, because we need a great audience that's ready to laugh and be supportive
It's
going to be great fun.
Yeah, and your manager is going to coach the audience too.
Yeah.
So that's going to be a
exciting
neat experience. Yeah.
Right. For Peatone, Illinois, how many comedy specials do you think have been recorded in Peatone, Illinois?
Yeah.
Probably none.
No comedy. I know we just had Netflix did a filming in our little podunk town.
They did. They were out with the cameras and stuff,
but they wouldn't reveal what kind of show it was going to be.
Yeah. Well, anyway, we're revealing pretty much everything. All right. Well, let's move on to our topic. Our topic today is holiday stress and how to cope with it, because we all have it. And we have 3 takeaways like we always do with our podcast. Well, at least we try to have 3. First takeaway is ways to reduce holiday stress. That's going to be valuable. Yeah. Second one is we're going to share our own holiday mishaps. And then finally, how to lower your expectations so that you can meet them. That's pretty cool.
And you should be ready for the holidays.
That's right. Right.
That's all you need.
And we have sponsors, Cathrine. Who are they?
They are Muffin and Pooh. Gag.
I know. Tell our listeners who Muffin and Pooh are.
Well, Ron and Kenny. They are our husbands. Ron belongs to Tracy. Kenny belongs to me. You hear that? Pooh.
Yes.
Belong to me.
That's right. And combined, our marriages, I can't do math in my head. So how long have you been married? 25?
I think 28.
28. Okay.
29?
So 29 plus 32 is what?
That would be 30. No, 60.
30.
I'm rounding up and then anyway.
Okay, 60.
Isn't it? Because
yeah,
I got
sounds
one more
good
year.
enough. That sounds close enough.
God, it's fuzzy math. You know that for a long time in school they were teaching that everyday math,
like estimate
math,
things,
and it was all estimates, which I kicked up a stink about that. But in reality, I'm like, yeah, that's it.
It's good enough.
Hey, I'm good at art stuff.
Well, I was about to say
grammar
that we have about 60 years of marriage.
Yeah,
you know,
between us.
So we know what we're talking about. I don't know why.
I don't know if our husbands would agree.
Well, that's the point. They would just dummy up.
You know what my husband would say? You know it all.
Yes.
And I'd say, well, I can't help it. I just do.
That's why we're happily married. Because they know when to talk and they know when
to stifle it.
Okay. Well, let's move right into our first little segment here. Ways to reduce holiday stress. Catherine's got some great information to share.
Yeah, you had mentioned that we all have it, and it's true. And considering that we've all been through a worldwide pandemic, right?
Yes.
So you've got that. You've got the consequences from that. Maybe there's added financial stress, and a heated election, which that was last year, but still
we
have
there.
Nonsense in the political realm of
always
things. Yeah. So when you're with family and politics and pandemic and all this thing with masks and subjects, there's a lot of added stress if there wasn't enough already. We're all just raw.
Yeah, and that kind of stress that you're describing feels like it's just a hanging over us. So we have like the regular kind of stress, like let's say you're in traffic and all of a sudden you're in a traffic jam. So that's kind of like acute. It's there. It's acute.
Yeah.
But but that other stuff is just like hanging there.
Oh,
it's like a wet, heavy blanket.
Yeah. And really, I think the longer that we're in and under like this cloud, the more like you're
chronic.
Pretty much.
It's chronic.
Right.
That's the term I was looking for.
I know I was too, but then I let it go because I was like, yeah. Just blurts it out.
Anyway, go ahead.
But it's that's a long time to be under stress.
Yes.
And so we don't want to put ourselves in any more than that. So this is a good time to have this episode.
I think it is too, because I don't know. I haven't looked at what you're about to reveal, but I just know from personal experience of being a human for 55 years, if I'm in that chronic stress for a long period of time. Having raised 5 sons, I get it. Chronic stress coming from multiple venues, right? It's coming at you. And then if you add an acute situation on top of that, you can really blow your stack.
Yeah.
You can really blow your stack. And that kind of blowing the stack thing wouldn't normally happen if you didn't have that heavy chronic stuff all the time. So we have got to prepare for the holiday season so that we can reduce our stress. So then if something does happen, we don't lose it.
Exactly right.
Yeah.
Very good.
Nah, you're welcome.
But stay to the end.
Right.
Because
right, we have nuggets.
Yeah, we do.
Okay, go ahead.
All right. Well, the first, so I got this from Ramsey Solutions.
I love Dave Ramsey.
Yeah. Now, he didn't write this, but a doctor did that's hired by Ramsey Solutions.
Nice.
Yeah. And his first bullet point for, reducing the stress is set boundaries for your schedule and spending.
Nice.
Great advice. You get to decide where you go, how long you'll stay there, or who you invite into your home, and how much money you'll spend. If you think about those things ahead of time, that's a really good way. The boundaries are always a good thing.
Yeah.
Healthy boundaries.
Yeah, and thinking them through ahead of time is the key. Because otherwise, then you've got to just shoot from the hip.
Yeah, you don't want to be knee deep in the Christmas or Thanksgiving festivities and then be like, ah!
Right. Now I can't put up a boundary because you're already here.
Yeah, that's a little too late.
Yeah.
I mean, you can adjust. I mean, we're adaptable, but you got to reach within yourself to do that.
Yeah. There's a little story in my book about, I don't think I used the term boundaries though. So I was new in the family, in the DeGraaf family, and I wasn't accustomed to the level of sarcasm that was being used with the immediate family members of their family. Like my family had sarcasm too, but not to the level that they had. And I was like, dang, this is getting hard to even communicate. I don't know how this works. And for the one holiday that I was hosting in my home, I decided to do a game, which you could consider a boundary in a way. So I took a $10 bill. This was 30 years ago. So $10 was kind of a thing. And I took a $10 bill and I taped it to the wall of our little bitty baby townhouse that we lived in, this little small thing, right? And we had 2 kids already. And so my in-laws were coming. So the place was packed with people, tiny spot. Here's the $10 on the wall. And I said, let's play a game. We're going to play a game. It's the Anti-Sarcasm Game. And whoever at the end of today, as we celebrate whatever holiday it was, I can't even remember, but whoever hasn't said something sarcastic, they get the $10.
And how did that go?
Well,
I bet there were comments about that.
Immediately.
Yep.
Immediately people were out. And I think it was Mark and Danette, they were out right away. And then in the end, it was me and Claudia. Or Claudia and I, whatever, however you say it. It was my mother-in-law and I were the winners. And she let me keep my $10. So
she's so full of grace.
I know.
And kindness.
I know. And so I think that was my way of trying to set a boundary, because it was something that was bothering me a little bit anyway.
I could see that.
Yeah.
Well, my mom always used to say sarcasm is the lowest form of wit. She despised it.
Oh.
So it was kind of forbidden.
Yeah.
It's not to say it didn't pop up, but
yeah,
I was afraid to be that way because I was afraid of the consequences. Even a dirty look, I'm in trouble.
And sarcasm is like pepper. I mean, a little bit enhances the flavor, peppered into a conversation, right? But if it's constant, if sarcasm is constant, then it's hard to know where are we being real then? Yeah, communication wise.
Yeah, and with anything, it gets old.
Exactly.
Too much of something just gets old,
right?
And it's
if you picture your mashed potatoes, right, with a little bit of butter,
a ton of pepper.
If you just pepper a little bit of pepper on there, it's just right. But if you dump the whole shaker of pepper onto it, it ruins it.
It absolutely does.
All right, take a note.
Don't drown your food. Remember that?
No.
Okay, never mind.
Go ahead. What's point 2?
Well, I just want to add, just, create a plan.
Yeah. For boundaries?
For boundaries. Mm-hmm. If you're married, do it with your spouse.
Yeah.
Okay.
Good idea.
Mm-hmm. Point number 2, avoid family conflict. Well, that sounds easy. How do you do it, right?
Yeah, how do you?
Well, first of all, it doesn't say this. I'm just saying set aside your differences. You can do it.
Yes.
So it says here, holidays expose our need for boundaries with our families, which we just talked about that, but he's repeating himself here. Even the best families can drive you crazy.
Cuckoo.
Yeah. So before you pack your bags, spend some time thinking about the potential conflicts that will pop up with the family. I was kind of surprised at that bit of advice because I don't like to sit there and kind of mull over, oh, this might happen and that might happen.
Okay.
But he's saying to prepare yourself,
right? How
you're going to respond. That's his point.
Right.
And it's funny because it says if your Uncle Eddie has a pattern of talking bad about a particular group of people, don't be surprised. So that's his point. Is
right.
You shouldn't be surprised. This is typical.
Right.
Is really what the doctor here is saying.
And then, so I'm wondering, so what I'm picturing in my mind, if I have an Uncle Eddie or whatever who does that, right? And then, so what are you supposed to do? Are you supposed to just go, oh, that's fascinating, pass the mashed potatoes? Or how do you get past it?
Yeah, that is such a good question. And I always thought the best way is just go with it. I mean, you don't have to participate, but just have grace and don't be surprised. Well, he does say don't be surprised, and he points out you can't change them.
No, don't ever try that because it's just.
Yeah. Mm-mm. But you get to decide how you're going to respond. He does say you can ask him to stop. Okay. You can ask him to, or you can get up and leave. And he does say, settle in your heart and your mind what you will and will not tolerate.
I guess in my head, though, what first comes to mind, so this could be totally wrong. Like if that doctor who wrote that was here, he might be like, you're wrong. Mm-hmm. But in my head, I think about saying to confronting somebody on Christmas, in my family and saying, I disagree with you. Like maybe that would be an accelerant in some cases. And then in other cases, if you just get up and walk away, maybe that's an accelerant. So I guess it would be a case-by-case situation.
I totally agree. In fact, my thought when reading this was that when he wrote this doctor, that he might be assuming that the reader, the audience, is kind of balanced.
No.
Because...
Wrong assumption.
Or let me say mature. And that's kind of what I felt as well. Yeah. Because I personally think getting up and leaving the table speaks volumes and can send off such negative, waves. But this guy is an expert in the field of psychology. And
however, I would say that even if he were here, discussing this with us and we could ask him questions, follow-up questions, I would imagine that somebody who would write an article like this would say, these are guidelines. But everybody knows, you kind of know your family and the triggers that are going to set somebody off. Mm-hmm. In my opinion, avoid the triggers. You know, and if a trigger comes up, just pray, ask God, what should I do right now? And try your best to diffuse a situation. Yeah,
that's absolutely true. We do know our relatives well enough to know what triggers them. So that kind of goes without saying, well, you would think. You would think,
but it is good to be mindful of, right? Think it through. So if you have a struggle with words in your family and people have different political views, as you pointed out earlier, we all have that. Every single family has differences of opinion.
It's crazy. Even when you're on the same side, it still causes all this tension, because too much is too much, like the pepper. Yeah. Too much of, even if you agree. Yeah. So There's got to be balance.
Yeah. So good luck with that one.
Yeah.
That's all I'm saying.
It's funny. I circled this paragraph and I put, huh?
Yeah.
Because I just want to point this out. He says, create a plan of action and send an email ahead of time to make it clear that you don't want to talk about politics or your little brother's addiction. And if someone violates that boundary while you're there, you got to walk out.
I don't know about that.
I know, because I feel like that is a little bossy and offensive. Again, but I really did. So I looked up quite a few different sites, but I really did prefer this particular one.
Yeah.
Because of the bottom line.
Well, and this doctor, he's probably a psychiatrist or a psychologist, right? So he's in the mental health world where it's so touchy.
Well, and we may disagree, but we're not the experts. So.
We're not, but we're living in regular life too. And so I think that for our listeners, which is why we do this. So this is for their benefit. If you're listening and you really have some mental deep issues going on in your family, and we all have something, go to this article. We'll put it in the show notes. Read it through and pray then that God would show you how you can apply any of it. What's that saying? Chew up the meat and spit out the bones is what we're saying.
Yeah.
Just try to get some nugget and really pray that God would help you so that you can really celebrate the holiday and not get distracted by chaos.
Yeah.
Ta-da.
That's good.
Okay.
All right. So the next point is focus on what you can control.
That I 100% agree with.
There are only two things on planet Earth that you can control. They are your thoughts and your actions. It's funny because I think some people think they can't control their thoughts, but you can. I think you can't help what pops in there, but you can control the trajectory that it's going to go in. It doesn't say that in here. I'm just saying that.
That is true. Good deal.
So you can't control what your parents say around the dinner table. You can't control your kids' attitudes. But you, like we just said, can you can steer it in a different way. Your mind, that is.
Yeah.
Anyway, take control and ownership of your thoughts and actions and do what's best for you and your family. I think you need to be realistic.
Yeah.
Really the bottom line there.
Yeah, because it's not a realistic expectation for us to think that families are going to be all puppy dogs and rainbows. It's just not a realistic expectation. So we have to be real with each other and have grace with one another.
Yeah.
Because as much as somebody drives you crazy, you drive other people crazy.
Whether you think so or not.
Right. Because I know I drive people crazy. I know it.
Same.
Yeah.
I think it'd be foolish to say that we didn't, drive others crazy. Right. Especially those who know us best.
Right. Right. Yeah. We do. So we're all in it together. We're all just trying to put one foot in front of the other. And we need to take a posture of humility. That is going to go a ton far away.
And like you said, just a few moments ago, the grace. And grace is hard. It's not easy.
Because it's not deserved. People don't deserve grace. They just get it. That's why it's called grace.
Right. We're preaching it.
Amen, sister.
Yeah.
Okay.
Next bullet point. Know your role in the situation. Sometimes we experience stress by taking on roles we were never meant to shoulder.
Amen to that one, too.
I do that.
Well,
when I read it, I was like, oh.
Well, why do you say that? Like, give me an example of how you have done that and it's created more stress for you.
Well, sometimes I've kind of put myself in a situation, like to straighten a situation out or to help. And that role wasn't meant for me. And I can't think of a particular situation at the moment, but I've done it enough to be like, as an afterthought, like I really, there's no way I could fix that situation. And that I think sometimes I have this overall feeling or need to want people to just get along. So then I'll try to, I wouldn't say that I intercede and literally am blatantly out there trying to fix it, but
Well, what I'm perceiving you saying is that you internalize it and then it creates angst inside of you, adding to your own personal stress. Because I know this about you. You care very deeply for people.
Yeah, I suppose that's true about internalizing, but I'm literally talking about when I've actually tried to use some encouraging words, or diffuse the situation.
Yeah.
And then it's like, oh, I should have just let them
duke it out. Yeah. And, every family has those issues too, because we all have relationships that are beyond like mom, So there's mom. We're kind of like the hub of the wheel. Mm-hmm. And then there's all the kids. And then there's the kids and their spouses, as you get older. And then there's the kids and the spouses and their children. And then there's in-laws, right? God. I know. It's exhausting.
Yeah, just like listing them. It's like in the Bible when they list all the names. Like,
Right.
The example they give here, or he gives here, if you travel to your in-laws' home, but they don't really like you, choose before you arrive to not absorb the passive aggression.
Yeah.
I should add sarcasm.
Well, yeah, you could add that.
If it bothers you to the point of you're just so miserable. I should add that.
But sarcasm is different than passive aggressive behavior, in my opinion.
Well, yeah.
Especially in my case, because I would say that my in-laws, they welcomed me and loved me from day one.
Yeah.
And I mean, there's times when I'm like, you guys like me better than you like your own son.
Yeah.
Well, I say that tongue in cheek. But
what
I'm saying is sarcasm sometimes is just a way that people communicate.
Yeah.
And it's nothing more than that.
Right. The situation I'm talking about is different, though.
Yeah.
Yeah. Where it's mean-spirited. I'm not talking about when it's joking around, you know, and that's not that.
It's so complex.
Anyway.
My head.
Choose before you arrive to not absorb
yes.
those kinds of things,
yes.
you know, whether they have opinions about your parenting, decisions, what you're eating. Just choose to be kind.
Okay.
Let the criticism roll off.
Yeah.
Choose kindness.
And you really, like you said earlier, that the only thing you can control are your own thoughts and your own behaviors. Our inner self-talk is oftentimes not it's not what other people are really thinking. Mm-hmm. You know, like, how do you know what somebody's thinking?
You don't really.
So you have these inner thoughts of, well, they're judging me for my blah, 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 or they think that, but we just have to shut that down because we don't know what other people are thinking.
Yeah.
They're probably too busy thinking about what you're thinking.
I always tried to tell my girls that, and Patrick too, my son, you know, because they'll insist, like, she looked right at me. And I'll be like, sometimes people look at you, but they're not really seeing you. You know, they don't want to hear it.
Yeah, of course not.
Yeah.
All
right. The next point is say no.
No is a complete sentence. No.
That's what they say.
Period.
Mm-hmm. You can't be everywhere at once. And you need to be really honest with yourself about what you can handle. So if you're invited to like all these different Christmas parties or baking things or whatever the case might be, you've got to consider your family's time or your time and commit to only what you can handle and commit to. It's about the quality, not the quantity.
That's very true. And you do have to I was just thinking about when I was first married, I said no to my in-laws' side of the family. Like I said, my mom was terminally ill with cancer when I got married. And she passed away. She had her cancer for 4.5 years. So she only lived for like 3.5 years after my marriage. And we knew, you know. So during that period of time, I gave my mom priority. She was the priority. Whatever she's having, we're going to that.
Yeah.
I mean, we did do things with my in-laws, of course, but I knew that I wasn't going to have that time with her.
Yeah. I think you learned at a very young and tender age about those kinds of things.
Yeah.
About priorities.
Yeah.
And even boundaries.
Yeah.
Even if you didn't realize it. You probably do now. But
yeah, it's very true.
You have to learn that.
It's very true. And it's okay.
It stinks.
It does stink. However, it's okay for us to look at our situation and go, you know what? Right now, this is what I need. Whatever it is. And to communicate that to people. And my in-laws were so gracious.
Yeah.
And they're just very loving people.
Yeah.
And, and now we've had all these years that we do the stuff, whatever they're doing. Because that's, now my dad is gone too. But anyway, we just worked it out.
Very good. Okay, number 6 on here, limit your time on social media. And he really stresses this one as a biggie.
Yeah.
He points out that there's already a lot of nonsense in the news, and all of this coming at us is literally making us insane.
Yeah, you mean like comparing yourself to other people's families and all that stuff? That's exactly
right. Yeah. In fact, he says, if you hear anything from me, hear this: stay off social media if you're stressed. He's pointing out if you're stressed.
Yeah.
Because it does. It causes you to compare yourself to things that are not real. Right. And he points out somewhere in there that it's a lie.
Yeah.
The pictures don't show the disaster, the burnt turkey, or the family argument.
Yeah.
Or mounting credit card debt.
Yeah.
You don't see that.
You're making me think about author Jill Savage, who does, she has several books out for women, and men could read them too, about life, parenting, marriage, all that. And she has, I can't remember the exact title of the book, but it's something about being real. And I went to this event where she was speaking. She showed a picture of her family. They looked picture perfect. Like they were all staged so beautiful, and they had like the matching this and that.
Yeah.
And then she had permission from her family to go through and share just a little nugget of what was really going on behind the scenes to help the audience to understand that if we compare ourselves to what's out there on social media, we're not really seeing the whole picture. So she was really making the point that this guy's making. Yeah. Don't do that.
Right. It's not to say that, air your dirty laundry.
No,
I mean, I don't think that's
no need
good
for
either.
that.
Right. So when it says to be real, it doesn't mean expose your family's sensitive issues.
Right.
That would not be good.
No. Then you're creating more problems.
Yeah. So instead of social media, just choose to connect.
Remember when we used to do Christmas cards and that was it? And even that was pressure, because then we had the Christmas letters that came out. Human beings, we're just bizarro.
I'm going to keep my mouth closed about the Christmas letters.
Well, it's the same. Like the Christmas letter of the 80s and the 90s is Facebook of the 2000s and the 20s, right?
Yeah.
Because in the Christmas letter, like young people don't even know what this is, but a Christmas letter was where people would type something up. And it would be all their, I'm proud of this, I'm proud of that, I'm proud of this, I'm proud of that. So-and-so has got straight A's. And the other one is, the perfect little gem, whatever. And it was all listed in nice little letter on a happy piece of paper. And it was sent out to everybody. Ta-da! Yeah. One year I did a Christmas letter that was the truth.
Yeah, yeah.
It was hilarious.
I'll bet.
My niece, Sophia, out in North Carolina, she loved that letter. She's like, this is so funny. And I was like, yeah, Luke tried to, pop the eye out of Joel or whatever. I think it was Luke and Joel one of them was shot with a BB gun in the face.
So you kept it light and funny,
right?
Not dark and dramatic.
Right.
Yeah, that's the difference.
Right.
Yeah.
But what I'm saying is that we're human beings, and this is the way we roll. Before the Christmas letter, who knows what it was that was that type of thing, right? Okay.
That's right. Okay. Point number 7.
Yes.
Picture the Christmas you want to have. So now here's another one where I was like, now wait a minute.
Right.
Because you're picturing up this grandiose
Norman Rockwell.
Yes. Well, I don't think that's what he means.
Okay, what does he mean?
But he does say, set expectations for yourself and others by painting a picture of what you want your Christmas to look like. Believe it or not, he says that. And he kind of says, who's sitting around at the table? Who are you holding hands with? He actually says that. And I'm thinking, that sounds unattainable. in some situations. But he says, whatever it is, keep that picture at the front of your mind. Share your picture with your loved ones so they can understand where you're coming from. Ask them to paint a picture of what they want too, so you can choose to honor them.
Well, yeah, I don't know. That one, I'm with you in terms of it does make me go, huh. I'm trying to picture myself sending out an email to my whole family and saying, this is what I'm picturing. Mm-hmm. What are you picturing? Now we'll get to my view when we're done with this article. And so I'll just hold it for then.
Yeah.
It's okay.
Well, I think that's why I chose this one.
Right.
Because he is an expert. And so perhaps we need to take heed to that. Really, because it's coming from something that I would not have thought this. Same. I would not think that that's, expert advice. But I think there's some value there. Yeah,
I would definitely look at it, pray about it, give it some thought, maybe try it. If it works, great. If it doesn't, try something else.
Yeah. There's more to say about it.
Yeah.
And that's why, I'm not going to read word for word, but there's more to elaborate on that, like supporting.
Well, go to the show notes, friends.
Yeah.
The show notes will pop up into your email if you sign up for my email list on my website, TracyDeGraaf.com. Little plug.
Yeah. Very good.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Point number 8. Mm-hmm. Make a Christmas budget. Do it.
I think that's a really good idea.
Now, a budget is creating boundaries. Here we go again. Boundaries for your wallet or your bank account.
Yeah, we need that.
Mm-hmm. And
especially because things are so expensive now. It's going to cost more.
Yeah. Well, and they always do. It's so funny because the holidays, all year long that it's going to come. But what happens when you get closer to it?
I know.
Typically.
You're like, yeah, but I mean, like right now, this year in particular, gas is more, so it's going to cost you more to get to wherever you're going. Mm-hmm. And then all the groceries and such are up.
Well, the prices never go down. They always go up, but they've gone up significantly.
Yeah. Yeah, zip it, Skippy.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
And, budgeting helps reduce the stress because it gives you a plan for your money.
Right.
Really makes sense.
Mm-hmm.
And also, budgeting for Christmas will help you avoid the impulse purchases or spending too much on all those, whatever comes up.
No. It always comes up.
Make a budget and stick to it. Okay. Now, number 9. Don't overdo it on the sugar.
Oh, bummer. I hate this doctor. Okay, but he's right. He's absolutely right.
Yeah, it's okay to have, a little bit, but too much sugar messes up your natural hormone responses, your blood sugar and insulin levels, and your brain's neurotransmitters, which is your body's chemical messengers. And when you mix that with a lack of sleep, especially if you've had a lot of caffeine to keep you going, and a packed schedule, and you've got the perfect storm for anxiety, which we have an episode about that.
Not only that, but it makes your jeans tighter.
So, maybe not that moment, but
right in the end, you're going to be like, get me my stretchy pants.
Yeah, like the Oompa Loompa. Limit how much sugar you eat and feed your body with nutritious food as much as possible.
Okay, so Cathrine and I are working with Lindy, our trainer, at the gym. She's great. And she just talked to us about making choices with like whole foods rather than processed foods. So if you want to win during the holidays and when it comes to sugar, plan ahead, right? And maybe allow yourself just 2 bites, as Dolly Parton would say. Because Dolly Parton has this thing out there, too, where she says she just eats 2 bites of whatever's there. And then she puts it aside so she can keep her little figure,
I also heard this trick a long time ago as an actress. And she's, of course, thin and all of that. And she always said when she bakes cookies, if she bakes them, she makes the cookies really big. So then she only has like a couple bites, and then for her, the psychology behind it is she's had 2 big bites, and then the rest of the cookie looks like, oh, she didn't all
touch
of that,
it.
yeah, Or she'd eat the one whole big cookie, and that was enough. She wouldn't have to eat any more. So it worked for her either way.
Yeah. Well, find a way.
There's tricks.
Yeah. Because we're finding a way too this year, because we are not letting those pounds creep back on. As hard as we're fighting right now to get the COVID pounds off, they're not coming back on over the holidays.
Ever.
Right. Ever.
Yeah.
Okay. So don't give up, gang.
Yeah. So under that header about the sugar, he also says, get outside and move no matter how cold it is. You bundle up, you get out there. And when I read this, I thought to myself, I hate the cold, but I'm doing it.
Yeah. Well, we have the gym. You have the gym too.
Yes, he does say, or go to the gym. I'm going to do both.
If you don't have a gym, you can go to the mall. Malls are empty. Just walk around.
Cool.
Cool.
Yeah, there's places. Okay, so number 10, get plenty of sleep and stay healthy. So one of the most powerful tools you have to reduce stress and anxiety is sleep.
Yes, I just yawned.
Yes, you did.
Sorry.
When you're not sleeping, your brain's emotional centers become overactive, which increases all of that. So you have to be sure whatever you need to do for your immune system, whatever, you've got to get enough sleep.
Agreed.
And he says he can't stress that enough.
And if you're struggling with getting enough sleep, we have an episode on insomnia. Check it out.
Yeah. Protect your downtime. Keep your peace and quiet. That'll help with your sanity. And stick to your normal routine. If you're in the midst of all kinds of, hustle and bustle, don't skip your normal routine. Like if you...
Sorry, I yawned again.
If you are having, if you normally have coffee in the morning and some downtime, stick to it.
Yeah.
Because it kind of sets your whole time off.
Does it say on there to not watch the news?
Well, it had to stay away from social media. It did not say stay away from news, but it does say protect your downtime. So if watching the news makes you anxious or, all riled up inside, that's part of protecting your downtime.
Okay, so I would give this little tip. I would say, I think, in my opinion, which probably is correct, if you have political differences with members of your family that you're going to get together with over the holidays, it would behoove you to not watch the news right before you meet with them. Because then let's say that your Uncle Eddie or whatever, who's really on top of the news all the time, and they want to engage in a conversation. Well, if you've watched the news, and usually news is spun one way or the other. So if you watch the news, you're probably watching the news that you relate with. So then you're going to have a rebuttal for Uncle Eddie. But if Uncle Eddie pulls up the thing that he's watched on the news and he brings it out to see if he can get something going, and you go, I hadn't heard about that. Then you can diffuse it a little bit better. Plus, my personal opinion on the news is that too much of it is really divisive in families and in our country and all this stuff. So in my opinion, stay away from the news, at least like a few days before Christmas. If anything major happens, you're going to hear about it. You'll hear about it from somebody else.
I just heard about something from you this morning that I did. I haven't been watching the news because I noticed that I was getting really depressed, stressed out, aggravated, really aggravated. So instead I put on HGTV, and then I sometimes get aggravated with that too. What? Well, why would you not want that house?
Right. Guard your heart. I guess that's the advice.
Yeah.
Okay, let's move on.
Okay, and we have to learn to deal with canceled plans. So much has been canceled over this whole pandemic.
No kidding.
We've had the disappointment of canceled plans and canceled vacations, canceled gatherings,
everything,
parties,
life,
canceled paychecks.
Oh, gosh.
And even canceled church.
Yeah.
So whatever we're going through, it's important to just kind of roll with it.
Hold it loosely.
Exactly. And reset your expectations.
Yeah. Love it.
Yeah, I think that's really important.
Well, it's a good article. Is that everything that he
There's
covered?
one more.
Okay, what's the last one?
Make connection your number one priority.
There you go.
That kind of speaks volumes all in itself. He's got a lot to say about that, but it doesn't happen by accident. We all know that. You have to be intentional.
Yeah.
To make, people a top priority. The
Right.
people in your life.
Right.
And we should be having conversations. We should be having joy and laughter.
Right.
And, we mentioned earlier, you can't change anybody, but
Right.
you can learn to embrace the good parts.
Yeah. Speaking of valuing the connection over anything else, games are a great way to create fun, joy, laughter in a group and bring everybody together.
It's true.
So
we do that a lot.
Find some games that you can play. And if you just Google it, like fun family games for all ages or something like that.
Oh, they could be so fun.
Yeah. We've played, you turned us on to Phase 10. That's a little card game that you can pick up at any dollar store / pharmacy. They're everywhere. It's just a deck of cards. It's like $4 or $5.
Yeah.
And it's fun for all ages, and it's a good engaging game. We've played what's that one with the dice? It's called
LCR?
Left, Center, Right. Yeah, LCR. Left, Center, Right is fun. The kids get into it. What's the other one with the dice that we played at Claudia's house?
Farkle?
Farkle.
Yeah.
Farkle. F-A-R, I think K-L-E.
Yeah.
That's a really fun game for all ages. And when you're playing a game with your family, it keeps moving and the pace keeps going.
Yeah.
So I would highly recommend that.
I would too. Now, if you want something to step it up some more in the game, when we have Christmas, and now we've carried this over to our immediate family, is really fun games like when you try to unwrap gifts with nylons on your hands or mittens, things like that. There's more to it, but it's so rowdy, it's so fun.
Yeah.
And if you have if you really can't have conversations with you, things like that are great to have. We've done Family Feud, where it's fast paced. We've done a lot of really fun stuff. Old way before it was popular, we did the ugliest Christmas sweater thing. Right. Well, you could spin whatever you want off of that.
Well, give that some thought, listeners, because whatever the case, family life has ebbs and flows. It has ups and downs. And, just a few Christmases ago, my dad passed away right before Christmas. Yeah. And we went to a Christmas party with my in-laws side of the family, and I was really exhausted. Yeah. And I was just low. But my mother-in-law, she brings a game every year, and it was so much fun to just get into the game and not be in my own thoughts.
Yes.
So we all have that. Life happens. Yeah. Laugh anyway.
That's
right.
That's
the name of the podcast.
This wasn't mentioned on this list, but I would add this. Limit your alcohol too.
Oh, yeah, that's always good.
Yeah. I mean, I think that's also, that could go all kinds of ways. Yeah. So I would do that.
Yeah.
And
good tip.
Yeah.
Okay, excellent. So we're going to list or link. Not list. We're going to link that exact article into the show notes, and we think it would be worth reading if any of those things resonate with you. So take a look at them. All right. Well, our final couple takeaways, because we're kind of wrapping it up here. Our own holiday mishap story. What say you, Cathrine? Do you have a holiday mishap that you want to share?
No, none.
Oh, little Miss Perfect over there.
Gosh, I'm trying to think of the most. So one of the times we talked about this beforehand, going to Christie's at Thanks Christmas.
Tell them what Thanks Christmas is.
Thanks Christmas is a combination of Thanksgiving and Christmas. And it is the family that you wouldn't normally see on Christmas Day or Thanksgiving. It's still your family.
Extended family, like cousins.
It's right. Extended, actually. And So it's a get together. And my cousin Christy was hosting it, and we pull up, and she likes to be all done up beforehand before you get there, and everything is perfect. She's a great hostess. Well, this one Christmas, thanks Christmas, she opens the door and she is in her t-shirt, and I mean I knew immediately we're really close, so I was like, oh, and she just looked not just disheveled but exhausted, frustrated.
Yeah.
Anyway, and she said our septic backed up. And all, everyone was coming.
Oh,
and even though
gosh.
it's family,
It's still.
and we all, I don't think anybody would have, thought less of her, but she was all upset. And it was backed up in the bathtub. It was backed up. Yeah.
Could you smell it when you walked in the house?
I don't think I could. I don't know. I don't recall.
Okay.
But anyway, so, and then now it's something really funny that we look back
You
on
laugh
because,
about it.
right, her husband and my husband were literally knee deep in the septic tank area. It was like below the fire pit.
Yeah.
And here they were having to clean the, what, out of.
Gross.
So they were
so
down
gross.
in the basement opening up pipes and, like I said, knee
Wow.
deep. Yeah. So that was one. And another one was, I was just really, so she lives an hour and a half away. And this other time, I was bringing baked goods, dinner to contribute.
Yeah.
And just in a rush, and the kids were a lot younger at the time. And I just felt harried. I didn't have Kenny he might have been working overtime or something. And I was trying to get out the door, and one of my girls was crying in the garage because it was a kitty cat in the garage, a stray.
Oh.
Somehow this cat was it was freezing cold. There was a
Oh.
snowstorm, so I was worried about that. And
It wasn't my cat, was it? It wasn't O'Grady.
No,
Oh, good.
No, it ended up being our cat.
Oh, it was your cat.
Yes, because I thought, what am I going to do? Because
So you brought it in. You kept it.
kept it. We had
Wow.
it for years. And my sister was with too, and she's like, you can't put it out in the cold. And I was like, yes, I can. Watch me. But I had all this pressure. I felt all this pressure to do
what they wanted.
Yeah.
Oh, that's stressful.
We ended up with a cat.
Well, Merry Christmas. Here's your kitty cat.
Meow.
Well, I have had multiple stresses over the holidays, and I have a whole chapter in my book about my holiday stresses. Probably my favorite holiday stress story is when we tried to run through the car wash with the Christmas tree on top of our car. We forgot about it. I was just at the end of my rope.
Yeah.
And we got in line for the car wash because it was 40 degrees in December in Chicago, and everybody gets their car washed when it's, nice out like that in December. And we did not actually go in because somebody stopped us, but that was a high stress moment. But I laughed so hard when the stranger came up and told us, you can't go in there. And I'm like, oh my gosh, that's so funny. So
once he pointed out why.
Yeah, the Christmas trees on top of your car. And I told you this the other day, but I'm still looking around at people in our little hometown here. Was it you? Was it you?
No.
Who was behind me? Who was behind me that wasn't going to honk their horn or get out of their car and come up to us? How come this kid had to come from way over there?
Yeah.
Because there were 3 or 4 cars behind us and cars in front of us. And they're probably all like, look at these idiots. Look at that. They're crazy. They're losing it.
Either that or they had their own family issues going on in their car or whatever.
So that was one. And then, another one where we had to order pizza because my dinner was a total flop. And then we ordered pizza for a couple years after that because my kids were little. I was stressed. My mom was sick. I had all this stuff going on. And then it dawned on me. I'm like, you know what? Why am I doing all this cooking? Why don't let's just order pizza every year for a few years. And that's what we did. And we were so happy with that.
I cannot imagine.
It was
that.
great.
I mean, I'd be fine with it, but I don't think.
Well, I think that I was at that level though, Catherine, that it's either we're going to do this pizza or we're not doing it because I cannot do it. And that's where I was. And, like you pointed out earlier that at a very young age, I learned a lot.
You did.
Through hardship.
Yeah.
Because of, going through losing my mother so young and such.
Having to prioritize.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I was just like, you know what? No, this is not worth it. And for me, this is what we're doing. If you don't like it, it's okay for you not to like it. You can do whatever you want. But this is what we're doing. Ta-da.
Very good.
Done.
Yeah.
Yeah. So that worked. Okay. So those were our experiences. Our final takeaway. Did you have something else that you wanted to add?
Well, I was going to add that those were some like faux pas that happened around the holiday. But I do have to point out that I had years, almost our whole married life, Christmas in particular was stressful. Because it was like, how much time are you going to spend on this side of the family? How much on that side of the family? But that was later resolved.
Well, that was Catherine's phone.
Getting a phone call. We cannot figure out how to have it
Stop
not
it.
go on my computer.
Yeah, I don't know either because her phone is on silent.
Yeah, my phone.
If anybody knows a way to do that, give us a shout.
Yeah.
Let us know because we're open to learning.
As always.
Yeah. So anyway, go back to your point, which was you were stressed out
for many years.
Yeah,
many years. Well, not only that, the situation that caused the stress that kind of has diffused, dissolved rather over time. But I also learned to really set the boundaries.
Yeah.
So that was the key.
Yeah.
Yeah.
In love and with grace.
Yeah.
Friends, know, we're like we've pointed out multiple times. We're just trying to put one foot in front of the other and find a way through life without hurting each other. Which brings us to point number 3, and then we'll have a little scripture and then we'll be done. My biggest encouragement to all young moms, because a lot of times I do events like at Mothers of Preschooler church things or whatever, and I look at those young moms and I see them with multiple kids and, all the stress. I say to them, lower your expectations. Just do it. Because I used to be that one who was trying to bring my I wanted to be hospitable. I wanted to be like Martha Stewart, like before prison Martha. Yeah. She wasn't involved in prison at the time that I was, now she's like real person kind of a way. But anyway, she was always a real person, but now you get to see okay, she has issues too. Anyway, so my expectation can't be way the heck up there if I can't meet it. Yeah. If I'm emotionally a wreck because I'm losing my mother, in a time of life that's very tender. And I've got 2 little kids, who are 1 and 2 years old. You can't then throw on top of that a picture perfect Martha Stewart dinner, especially when cooking is not my thing.
Yeah. Right.
So, and that's how the pizza thing started, was my expectations were Martha Stewart level, but I came in, way under that. So now I just set my expectations way low. That way I meet them. So it's like the expectation limbo. How low can you go so that you meet your expectations?
And how do you do that? How do you lower them?
Well, I think that it takes a lot of work to be intentional. Yeah. To really look at what you can do in terms of everything we've just talked about. Your time, your money are limited. Those 2 things are limited. You do not have unlimited time. Right. You do not have unlimited money. So set your budget with your money and even set your budget with your time. So maybe you have to say to one side of the family, look, we're schlepping 4 or 5 kids, or normal people would say, look, we have a couple kids. We can be with you this year on Christmas Eve. Next year, we're going to be with my family on Christmas Eve. So I'm setting that time budget, that boundary.
Yeah. I took a deep sigh because I wish I had learned that at a younger age. I found it very difficult to do that, extremely. Yeah. Because I didn't want to
upset anybody.
I didn't. And so then I suffered.
Yeah. And that's admirable because you really care about other people. But at the same time, so if somebody wants to do that, where that's what they want to do is go to both sides of the family on each holiday, then more power to you. But if that's really taking away from your holiday experience, it's okay for you to look at it and go, what can I do? And what can't I do? And then set your own gracious, loving boundary, limit, whatever. And I don't know the answer to that, Cathrine, because you said, how do you actually do that? It's different in every single case. I do think that, as we've pointed out now a couple times, that because I was thrown into that situation so early in my married life, I just did it. I just did it out of necessity, knowing that my mom was only going to be there for a year or two. I mean, she was really sick.
I guess that's how one would have to look at it then, is that consider it a necessity. Yeah. It may not seem like it, but it probably is.
Yeah. And remember that just because you've always done something the way you've always done it, doesn't mean that you can't change it. It's not locked in stone. You can change it.
Yeah, it may seem like it because it does.
Right.
Yeah.
And I guess open communication. So maybe like being real with yourself, like how is this really impacting me? And then maybe going to your husband, and talking to them about it and trying to come up with a creative solution.
That's what this doctor was saying.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then maybe even communicating in a loving way. I don't know about sending an email saying, this is my picture of Christmas. What's your picture of Christmas? I don't know how it would look.
Well, the email was more like that. This is what I don't bring up politics.
Okay. Well, still, but when you got to the point about communicating with people about what your picture looks like after you talked about the Norman Rockwell thing, it's okay. Life is messy. It just is. We're all a mess.
Yeah. But I would consider all of these tips and see what works best for you and your family, or you and your friends, whoever you get together with, coworkers, whoever you spend your holiday with.
Right.
Yeah.
All right. Well, this has been a fun and interesting episode. What is our spiritual encouragement?
Well, we have two because they're both great and they're both applicable.
Yeah.
All right. So the first one is from 1 Corinthians 13, 4 and 5. Love is patient. Love is kind. It does not envy. It does not boast.
Amen.
It is not proud. That's a big one. Pride is a big one. It does not dishonor others. It is not self-seeking. It is not easily angered. It keeps no record of wrongs.
Amen to that.
Whoa. Oh, you could sum up so much right from that.
Okay. So meditate on that, friends.
Yeah.
What's the reference again in case?
1 Corinthians 13, 4 and 5.
Okay.
We also have chosen John 13, 34. A new command I give you, love one another. As I have loved you, so you must love one another. Words and all. Doesn't say that part, but that's really what it means.
It's so true. And when you think about these so in John, are those the words of Jesus? Or is that John speaking? Okay, so that's Jesus speaking. Christmas is about Jesus.
Yes. So that's why he says, I have loved you.
Right. Okay. So let's think about that for just 1 second. Christmas time is a celebration of the birth of Jesus. Let's do our best to love other people, because it doesn't matter if we're really together on the 24th or the 25th or whatever. That's not even really Jesus' birthday.
Yeah. Well, and this applies to all the holidays.
Right.
All gatherings, really.
It's true. It's all of life is just to love. Well, God loves you, friend. If you're listening to us and you ever wonder that, it's the truth.
It is.
God loves you.
That's right.
Well, you've been listening to the Life Happens, Laugh Anyway podcast. I'm still comedian Tracy DeGraaf.
I'm still Cathrine.
We'll see you next time.
Bye-bye.